Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's great to be with you all today. Thank you for joining today's Ovation CXM webinar focused on voice AI. We're going to be having a conversation on how this powerful new technology can help your businesses in many ways, including enabling your company to reduce spend on customer support costs very rapidly, actually, with voice AI agents. So I am Glenn Kelly, the Chief Revenue Officer here at Ovation CXM. Glad to be with you all today. And I'll be your moderator. And I'm joined by three of my amazing Ovation CXM colleagues who will serve on the panel. And they are Janelle Taylor, who's at least on my screen in the lower right. And she is our VP of Service Operations. Hi, Janelle. We have Alan Finlay, our Head of Product. Hello, Alan. And we have Nusheen Kush-Rashahi, our Director of Product Marketing. Hello, Nusheen. So in terms of an agenda, we're going to start with a series of questions for the panel, which I'll ask them. That'll take about 40 minutes. And then that will be followed by a live demo of our voice AI technology, which will take about 7 minutes or so. And Alan Finlay is going to walk us through that, our head of product. And then we'll reserve about 10 minutes or so for Q&A at the end before we wrap up. So please be sending us your questions in the chat. You'll see the chat button down in your navigation bar, and we'll get to those at the end. We may not have time to address all of your questions, but we will also follow up to answer those with you and give you guidance as needed via email. You can also connect with us after. We'll be talking about that after the event to ask any additional questions you may have that we can help you with. But before we dive right into the panel discussion, which I'm looking forward to, and the live demo, let's talk through what a voice AI agent is. So an AI voice agent is essentially a tool, right, that can communicate with customers in a natural, human-like way. AI voice agents use advanced technologies like speech recognition, large language models, tone, sentiment analysis, and more to understand customer inquiries and to provide relevant, real-time responses. It's pretty amazing. If you haven't seen it, I know you're going to be super excited about it. These voice AI agents can significantly reduce the workload of human agents by delivering intelligent responses based on specific training that we would give the voice AI models, which leads to incredible benefits for the company, including cost savings. At Ovation CXM, we're really excited about the advancements in this voice AI technology, and that's because we have a deep-rooted foundation in customer support and customer experience. We're really passionate about customer experience here at Ovation. And voice, as we all know, plays a critical role in the customer experience as we're engaging with customers. So we're going to get into a little bit more about why voice and why now with our panel today. We'll provide really valuable insights and practical guidance on voice AI agents, including some real-world examples and expert recommendations for successful adoption for your companies. We'll then walk through the live demos I mentioned of Ovation CXM's own voice AI agent. We've trained that agent on our products and solutions, and we wanted to do this live to really show you the power of having AI voice agents take questions in real time. They can even troubleshoot. They can do basic onboarding. Really exciting stuff. I personally think this technology is going to be transformative in the world, and so it's super exciting to be involved with a company that's really helping to shape the future of this technology and the future of customer experience. So with that, we're going to get started. And my first question is going to go to Nusheen. So hi, Nusheen. Good morning.
Good morning.
And good afternoon, wherever you might be, if you're out there calling in from overseas. So Nusheen, this question is, given current trends in customer service and the advancements in AI, how do you envision AI voice agents transforming the customer service landscape?
Yeah, there's so much excitement around voice AI, as you said, and AI voice agents. And a lot of this has really only become possible in the last few months. So historically, when people have wanted to call in to support, they've sometimes had to contend with long wait times or phone menus that are, quite frankly, painful to go through, or they're routed to different teams where they're forced to repeat themselves over and over again until their inquiry is solved. But now, with the reduced latency of large language models and advancements in natural language processing over the last little while, we're at the point where we can have these voice-based interactions in a much more natural, engaging back and forth way. There's also other significant improvements, such as, in speech to text accuracy and speed. These have really made voice interactions more reliable. And quite frankly, there's been a great improvement in the quality of natural voices, to the point where, these AI voices no longer sound robotic. So with all these technical improvements, we're really ushering in a new era for voice agents to handle these kinds of conversations in real time.
That's such a good point, Nusheen. As I've listened to this even recently, I have to say it is incredible to see how much less robotic the voice sounds and how natural you really think you're talking to a person. It's a pretty incredible.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's indistinguishable. And it's quite the leap forward, really, compared to like your traditional IVRs, which of course have been very useful for basic routing and information retrieval, but not really a tool that allows for understanding complex queries and engaging or even offering personalized assistance. And when you think about what people prefer, customer preferences are, people generally prefer to call in when they have more complex issues. Study after study will showcase that, including younger generations, your Gen Zs, they prefer to use the phone for serious matters like finance or telecom. We also know that most people prefer to self-serve as their first option, and that most of these self-service questions are usually technical in nature and often require a phone call to resolve effectively. So when you take those customer preferences and habits and you combine it with the benefits and the power of these AI voice agents in the customer support world, it's not a surprise to me how quickly these voice agents are starting to get steam.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, I have to say, it's so easy now to get on a call with a smart device, right? And we all are familiar with that. And you can get on a call without even having to pick up your phone and dial a number. So yeah, it's incredible how the technology really is advancing, making it so convenient for us. So based on that, like, what trends are you seeing in the space?
Yeah, so in terms of market trends, we're continuing to see that generative AI is making a significant impact on the ground. We're now at the stage where we've moved beyond simple keyword matching, as I said, to generate these intelligent conversations and back and forth discussions. And just as quickly as we have arrived at this point, we are now moving beyond just voice interactions. So more multimodal interactions, combining voice and text. And, these voice agents are now able to interact more and more with text-based chats and video chats for a more omni-channel sort of support experience. We're also seeing these voice agents integrate with existing tools and systems like your CRMs, your knowledge bases, able to really access that real-time customer information that allows them to provide more personalized assistance. And so to that end, I think we will reach a place in the near future where AI voice agents might handle much, if not all tier 1 level support across organizations of all sizes, really.
Yeah, great point. And I think a wonderful sort of a lay of the land in terms of how voice AI agents are impacting the customer support environment. So thank you, Nusheen, for that. So next question is for Janelle. Hi, Janelle. And this question is, picking up from what Nusheen had just shared, maybe you could share some specific use cases and examples of how to successfully implement AI voice agents to improve customer service.
Of course, Glenn.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying that I've been leading customer support and technical teams for 2 decades now. Yikes. Most of the issues that I've seen over my career have been consistent with every organization. That is employee turnover and burnout, tribal knowledge and knowledge hoarding. A lot of times you'll have agents on a team that know how to answer one specific question and don't want to give that information to anyone else because they think that's going to give them job security. But it's a true detriment to the company. And it also leads to inconsistent support experiences and a lack of team culture. So there are several good use cases for AI-powered agents. The first is handling routine inquiries. When these agents are properly trained, they can effectively handle common customer inquiries such as like account information, password resets, basic troubleshooting. The second is round-the-clock support. Unless you're a large supported organization with a lot of resources, this can be very tough to staff and very, very expensive. The beauty of AI voice agents is that they're available anytime, and so customers can always have the access to phone support even outside of typical business hours. And the third would be reducing response times. When customers get immediate responses to their questions, it helps improve their key metrics such as wait times and call resolution, and it also supports improved customer satisfaction.
Hey, that's fantastic, Janelle. And I really appreciate you bringing those experiences from, a long experience with technical support teams and customer support. So that's great to know. Have you and your teams seen results from these AI voice agents? What have you seen so far?
Yes, I'd love to talk through this while it's still fresh. My team and I have ran a series of tests. We basically took our current support team and tenured and new agents and asked them the same questions that we asked our AI voice, just to kind of compare and contrast and see what those results were and how they differed. I will say that the response time was actually improved by 50%. The AI voice agent was able to answer the questions 50% faster than our agents, even the tenured ones. Though the accuracy wasn't quite as high as we wanted, we were about 60%. That was primarily due to the fact that we were looking at 2 different version models. And so it's funny because it wasn't fully trained, but I will say that the more you train the voice AI agents on your material, the more accurate your answers are going to become. And so if you're just training the AI agent on your public, website, that's great and all. But if you have very complex technical questions, you'll want to make sure that you're feeding it more information as an ongoing learning program. As we continue to advance in this area, AI-powered voice agents will become capable of using customer data to provide personalized recommendations and assistance based on, for example, the number that the customer is calling in on or the associated profile. Generally speaking, this approach is great for customers that would like to add a layer of level 1 support to free up their current support agents to do more complex calls. This is also a great option for customers that don't necessarily have the funding for a human support model. It allows customers to provide 24/7 support without breaking the bank.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. The point that you made a minute ago about, training the AI models on the specific information makes so much sense. Like anything else, you need to provide the training. But the great thing is once those AI agents have the training, right, they always have access to that knowledge. So, but picking up on that point about cost savings, maybe share how AI voice agents can help businesses reduce costs. Maybe dive into that a little bit more.
Sure. So if you look at the use cases we talked about, you're automatically reducing human agent workload by improving agent productivity. You're also reducing wait times and providing faster responses, all of which have monetary benefits. According to industry analysts, companies that use voice AI agents today are seeing up to 50% cost savings in customer service operations, 30 to 40% reduction in average handle time of support calls, and an increase of up to 40% in human agent productivity, as well as a 5 to 10% increase in average revenue due to improved customer satisfaction and efficiency.
Yeah, that's just amazing, right? Those numbers are really impressive, so much so that it's the kind of outcomes that pretty much every business is going to have to really take a hard look at. Those are really incredible outcomes. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you for that. So we're going to move over to Alan. So hello, Alan. Good to see you. Question for you, Alan. Let's look at the flip side of that. So while voice AI agents offer immense potential, as Janelle just highlighted some of these incredible outcomes, right? There's also concerns about their capabilities, such as risk of providing incorrect or misleading information. So how might organizations mitigate some of those risks, Alan, and ensure that voice AI agents are actually trained and responsibly deployed?
Yeah, it's a very important question. Generally speaking, organizations should be aware of the risks associated with generative AI, voice chat, whatever the model is. Generative AI can have biases, can have hallucinations, can have potential security breaches. This is a relatively new territory, so I think everyone in the industry is still learning. But a couple things that we focus on when we think about reducing or mitigating these risks. I think first and foremost, you need to have high quality and robust data that you use to power these agents. They're only as good as the data and the content that you give them. So it needs to be accurate, it needs to be high quality, needs to be continually reviewed. So it's always the latest, because your products, your services are going to continue to evolve. You need to make sure the content evolves so the AI agents evolve with it, or else it could give out old information. But diving into a couple specific risks. So hallucinations. This is generative AI can give an answer that is incorrect, and it often says it confidently, which can be dangerous. So you want to make sure you reduce the risk of hallucinations. So a couple things that we do to focus on this. First, there's a handful of parameters in these models you can adjust. So one is called the temperature. And the temperature can say, as you lower the temperature in a model, you reduce the creativity, you reduce the verbosity of the responses that the model gives and the agent gives, but it often leads to higher accuracy, which means reducing the risk of made-up answers. Similarly, what's called top probability. When these agents generate these answers, they can pull from multiple data sources at the same time. So as you reduce the top probability, you're actually reducing the number of data sources that you're pulling from when generating an answer. So it'll take the highest confidence data sources first. And again, this can reduce the creativity a little bit, but it can lead to higher accuracy and less likely for hallucination. And then finally, pre-grounding and post-grounding, both very important. Pre-grounding means you are feeding the right data into these models, only the things you want your agents to answer questions on. You don't want your agent to answer anything on the internet. You want it to answer questions from your content. That's pre-grounding these models. And then post-grounding is really interesting. Once the agent actually generates the answer, before it hands it back to the end user and says, here's your answer, we actually evaluate the answer against a set of parameters. So we look at the data sources, we look at a number of parameters to just say, does this answer generally make sense? And you can catch hallucinations that way when something just doesn't fit with the content that you provide it. So as you combine these together, it's not perfect yet, but you can drastically reduce the chance of a hallucination. Another risk, let's talk about security. So the risk that someone can access data that they shouldn't have access to. So a couple ways you can mitigate this. One is you can set up totally separate and distinct agents based on use case. You could have a customer-facing agent that only has access to publicly available data, and an internal agent that only has access to internal data. That's great. You cap your upside a bit, you limit your use cases, but that's probably the most secure thing you could do. What we do when it comes to mitigating security risks is we look at pre-processing of the queries coming in. And so people can sometimes get access to data they shouldn't through what's called prompt injection. And so whenever we get a question, we screen that query, we clean that query, and we make sure before it ever even gets to the model to generate the answer that the prompt doesn't look malicious. And from this evaluation, you can actually eliminate some of that risk before it ever hits your models and hits the data. And then a couple more I'll hit on. One is a lack of explainability. A risk when it comes to biases is really just understanding why your models are generating the answers they are. And so we focus on chain of thought visibility. So you can actually visualize how these agents are thinking or how they're reasoning as they're generating their answers. So you can see the assumptions they make, you can see where they pull their data, you can source the data back to where it got it, and you can check on that to make sure it's valid and everything looks good. And then finally, just continual learning, or the lack of. If you don't continually improve these agents, you will have a stale agent, so it could be giving incorrect answers as that data gets stale. And so you can mitigate that through human reinforcement learning, which means that humans can actually review the answers and essentially thumbs up, thumbs down, looks good, looks bad, and it'll reinforce the good ones and it'll push down the bad ones a little bit. You can also do that in a more automated fashion where you use things like CSAT or tone of conversation or sentiment. And the really positive ones, you can train your agents off the best experiences. And the really negative ones, you can say, hey, don't do that again. And you can reinforce this learning so your agents continually get better over time. And then just finally, I'd say just generally trust is really important. Don't go out and try to pretend that this agent is a human. Make sure people know they're talking to an AI agent. You want to build this trust. You want to be clear about how you're using customer data, address any of these concerns head on, or else you'll lose trust with your customers and they won't want to talk to these agents at all. So I'll pause there and hand it back to you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Alan. Great points. And I think your point just at the end there around trust is such an important one. I think you're exactly right. It seems that, as long as you're transparent and upfront about what this is, I think that, that'll create the right sort of dialogue. Uh, as you pointed out too, even though there are some potential risks, it seems like there's a lot of great tools that you covered that actually can help to mitigate and lower that risk pretty significantly. So it sounds like really great tools in place to help manage this.
Mhm.
Thanks, Alan. Okay, let's go back to you, Janelle. So while voice AI agents can be a valuable asset, they may not be suitable, right, for all types of customer interactions. So different situations may not be suitable for this sort of an application. What criteria do you use to determine when AI voice agents are appropriate to use versus when a human agent should be involved?
Thanks, Glenn. That's absolutely true. And I'm really glad that you asked that question. One question that I get asked a lot of is, should customer support teams fear AI? My answer is no, absolutely not. AI is a fantastic tool, but it is not a replacement for humans. I like to think of the AI agents as a super-powered assistant that can handle the routine tasks and the basic troubleshooting. They can handle all the calls that the agents don't want. We talked about earlier the employee burnout. It's because they've been, getting asked the same questions forever, and they can do it in their sleep. Well, this kind of takes that off of their plate and allows them to focus on more complex issues.
Mhm.
And remember, these agents are really just a part of your team. They can learn from your best human agents. And as they're fed more information, their performance will improve over time, making your team more efficient. And it gives you the benefit of handling increased volume without adding additional headcount. I'd say more complex or sensitive questions will definitely need a human touch. Here's how my team decides how AI voice agents are appropriate and when a human should get involved. First, we would look at complexity. AI agents, when they're properly trained, can easily handle simple and straightforward common questions. But if the conversation is more complicated or requires a ton of back and forth, that's when it makes sense to just route it directly to a human agent. We also consider the nature of the questions being asked. For example, if the question is particularly sensitive or requires a high level of trust, it's better to get those directly to a human agent as quickly as possible. And also, if it's very clear that the customer's upset, the last thing you want to do is have it chatting back and forth with the AI voice assistant. So we would get those automatically routed to a human as well.
Yeah.
And finally, if the customer is looking for more customized solution, or if the voice agent can't answer the question because it's new content that hasn't been trained on yet, we'll get those over to a human agent also. There are also ways that AI can help assist our human agents. For example, we use tools like AI-generated summaries, which helps your human agents quickly understand the context of the conversation. And for complex inquiries, we use AI co-pilots or AI-powered knowledge base so that they can use these lookups for faster assistance. The key is basically just finding the right balance. If I can train my AI agent team the right way and free up my human team to focus on the complex and more rewarding tasks, it's a win-win for me.
Yeah. Great perspectives. Thank you, Janelle. And I think that's so true. We have to remember voice AI agents are not humans, right? They cannot infer, they cannot, feel emotion the way that we do as humans. And so there are always going to be applications that don't make sense, as you've pointed out. So I think your point at the end about striking the right balance is really smart. And I think, again, given those incredible outcomes, it's like, seems like you've got to find ways to use this, right, to drive value. But at the same time, the balance that you're talking about seems like the right approach. Thanks, Janelle.
Absolutely. Of course.
So Alan, we'll come back to you. So now let's talk about, implementation. So, I'm an organization, I'm listening in today, I'm thinking, hey, it might be worth implementing a voice AI agent here, and beginning to test and learn and understand. Clearly, this is going to be technology that's going to become pervasive. Everyone's going to be using it. If I don't use it, maybe I won't be as competitive anymore. I can't operate with as low of a cost base as my competitors. So I've got to get in and I've got to figure this out early. Seems to me like that makes a lot of sense. So what are some of the key factors, right, that businesses should be considering when selecting a platform or solution?
Yeah, there's such an explosion right now of AI-enabled businesses and platforms and tools coming to market, it can be hard to filter through the noise and figure out what to even look for. How do you choose someone? You're going to want to partner with someone likely long term, because the more you use it, the better these get. The more integrated your data gets, the more they can self-improve. So I'll rattle off a handful of things that I would look for if looking at a platform to get started on this generative AI, this voice AI journey. So first, I would look at is the platform you want to work with, or is your business more on the enterprise side, or is it more consumer SMB? If you're more enterprise, these platforms will focus on things like security and guardrails and permission access and explainability and configuration and controls. And the SMB consumer side will be more about simplicity and ease of use. So you'll find this spectrum. You can find where you fall on it. Knowledge and the integration of knowledge is really important. From a holistic perspective, you want a knowledge platform that makes it really easy to add, edit, update content. Because if you have that WYSIWYG editor, you can have non-technical teams owning, driving, improving your content over time, which makes it really easy to improve your AI agents. And so if you find someone with a pre-integrated knowledge management system, fantastic. If you already have a knowledge base somewhere, look for something that can integrate and talk directly to it, so you don't have to move everything you've already had built out. And on that vein, integrations. You want robust integrations. You don't want this voice AI to be a sidecar. You want it to integrate with the overall experience. That's what's going to make this a success. So can it connect with your CRM and your ticketing platform? Can it connect with your call center software and your IVRs? The more it can integrate to, the more powerful it can become when it comes to case creation, escalations, team handoffs, hours of operations. Can it hand off real-time transcripts and summaries of the call so the agent has insights by the time they pick up that phone call? All those pieces kind of sit around the voice AI model that make the whole experience that much better. You want your platform to be model agnostic. You don't want to get stuck in any proprietary AI model or one single model. The industry is moving too fast for that. You'll want to be able to switch models as new models improve and new versions come out. You'll also use different models for different use cases. So just make sure the platform can be model agnostic, or even bring your own model if that's where you want to go. On the branding side, you want to have full control over the configuration and the branding. You do want this to be an extension of your brand. You want to be able to control personalities, languages, tone of response. You want to make sure it feels like your brand and is your company. It's not just bolted onto the side of it. Next, I would say scale. Can the platform scale with you from your expected volume? If successful and you scale up to max call volume, what does that look like? Can they handle it? But then also cost. How does the cost scale? Does it actually make monetary sense at scale from the cost perspective as well? So you'll want to look into that. Analytics, there's a lot of good data. These AI agents can tend to be black boxes. So make sure you can get the data out of it that you need. The insights of what these calls are about, the grouping of categories, the real-time transcripts. You want to be able to understand what's going on so you can improve them and make workforce management decisions in your organization as well. And then finally, last but not least, I'd say security. It's really important to make sure these platforms prioritize data privacy and security as best they can. So you want to meet industry standards. Like I said before, this will constantly change. This is new territory, but make sure this is a focus for the organization that you partner with, because it's going to be critically important that these remain secure, because over time, I think they will be more deeply integrated to your core business processes, and you want that to be secure and compliant. So to summarize, I'd say robust integrations, including with knowledge bases and existing systems. I'd say scalability, security, compliance, brand customization, and analytics off the bat.
Got it. Yeah. And so, you mentioned one thing I wanted to follow up on a little bit more there, Alan, is in the context of scale. When you were talking about scaling, can it scale easily? You brought up the topic of cost.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of that too, what are the costs that businesses should be keeping in mind as they think about this?
Yeah, costs are very important to keep in mind, because you don't need AI to solve every problem, and solving every problem with AI is can be more expensive than solving it without AI. So costs are very important. You always want to keep an eye on your costs, because you want to ensure you actually have a positive ROI when you bring on a new AI-powered use case. Otherwise, you're just using AI wherever you can for the fun of it. So in terms of costs, things to keep in mind if you're getting started on this journey. First, initial investment. There might be some upfront costs related to getting started. This will depend on the organization you work with. There might be a setup fee, or if there's not any sort of setup fee, you'll at least have to allocate time of your team to curate your content and your data and get it into the right place. You'll integrate your voice AI agents into your existing telephony system. You probably don't want to re-architect your whole IVR and setup. Then there's going to be testing, iteration, feedback before launch. So you'll have an initial investment. Your biggest cost will probably come from usage cost. There will be ongoing usage for the cost of the AI. AI can be expensive. We've seen different models. This can take the form of a per user cost. This can also take the form of a per usage cost, whether that be per minute or per API call or per message. And this cost can vary significantly depending on the models that you use and the amount of data you're using to train those models. You'll have an ongoing maintenance cost. So once you're live, you're not just going to set it and forget it. Your business changes. It'll need to constantly be improved and reviewed and enhanced. And so this is updating content. This is creating new flows and skills. This cost can be at least a team allocation cost, or maybe it's development cost, or to create new skills or to add new integrations if you wanted to enhance the capabilities of your voice AI agent. And it's worth noting that if your internal team doesn't have the skill sets to oversee your AI agents, train them, improve them, build new skills, some platforms that provide the AI software also provide these services that can help do that for you to get you up and running quickly and oversee it for a pretty low ongoing cost. And then finally, just team training and development. Ultimately, your team needs to understand how to use and manage these new AI tools. So you're going to want to invest in the education and the growth of their team, because the more they are empowered to take advantage of these tools, the more value you'll get out of these tools as a business.
Oh yeah, really great points. Thank you, Alan. And I was really struck by, and just listening to everything so far that you all have covered, including what you just covered, Alan. It's just bringing to light how important it is to have a strong partner as you implement this technology, because there's a lot to it, and having a partner that's actually going to understand the kinds of things you're talking about and be able to work with you and provide that support is going to be so important. It's not the kind of thing where it's going to be off the shelf and just use it, go at your own. I think clearly, as this technology is being launched, there's a lot behind the scenes that a partner is going to be doing to help a business make sure that this is implemented the right way and that costs are contained and managed appropriately. So really, really important stuff. Thanks, Alan. So Nooshin, we're going to come back to you. And I was also just realizing that, in this remote world we live in, I don't get to spend enough time like this with all of my great colleagues. And so it's so nice to be like on air with you for a while today. It's really nice to be with all of you, actually. But anyway, so good to be together. So Nooshin, what are some best practices, would you say, for organizations as they effectively communicate the benefits of AI agents to both their internal stakeholders like employees and others, and also to customers?
Yeah, picking up from what Alan just said about, making sure you understand the ROI, I think it's really important to build a business case for it and really demonstrate the value of AI for both parties, both internal and external stakeholders. So having a clear understanding of your current operations will help you identify areas as well where AI can provide the most significant benefits. So I recommend documenting your team's existing milestones, their existing pain points, to help you with that work in terms of identifying those specific areas where AI could improve efficiency or reduce workload. I'd also document the potential pros and cons of the AI implementation so that you can help to make an informed decision and then communicate that decision more broadly as needed. That cultural point as well, going back to what Janelle said, address employee concerns proactively, be transparent about your company's position on AI and the AI voice agents specifically, and emphasize that they are designed to complement your human agents, not replacement. As she said, AI agents, they're part of your team, they're working side by side with your human agents, and they're learning from the best of them. So leverage your employees, make sure they're involved in the conversation, gather their feedback, maybe implement a quarterly feedback provision program where they can bring in their knowledge and their perspective and have some valuable input on how to better deploy the AI voice agents and, identify even better scenarios for their use. You also really want to use your analytics to track your AI performance and share those reports and dashboards, even snippets of them, with your internal stakeholders, because that kind of transparency will help them understand why the AI voice agents are currently at play, understand their benefits a bit better, identify areas for improvement, and then help you as a business and as a team allocate resources more effectively. You know, traditionally, contact centers are seen as cost centers, but I think with AI voice agents and the benefits that we've heard throughout this past conversation, you know, there's really an opportunity to build a strong case for it and to maybe transform that contact centers are cost centers approach to potential revenue generators. Speaking about trust and transparency, exactly what Alan said before for customers as well, you know, make sure that you introduce your AI voice agents to customers, make sure they're clear that they're talking to AI voice agents and not humans, and help them manage those expectations so that they are avoiding any surprises. Ultimately, if you've taken the time to build this business case and go through the implementation, even if you expect wonderful results, if your customers choose not to use the voice agents, that is obviously problematic. So make sure that you are as transparent with them as possible right off the bat. And then make sure that you're educating them, you know, share examples, share case studies, share stories of how all your AI investments are working together as strategic investments so that customers understand how it's really elevating the products and services that they are receiving.
Yeah, great. Terrific. Thanks, Nusheen. I think all of those are really excellent ways to communicate the benefits. And I love the point you made around tracking performance, because I think at the end of the day, when the existing team actually sees the outcomes, everybody wants the best for their company. Or, you know, everyone's a shareholder, everyone's a stakeholder, everyone wants their company to succeed. And I think sharing those outcomes so people can see those kinds of really incredible results that you get as an organization from this technology, it's super important to create so the buy-in and the belief and the understanding that this really does have an important place in the world as this technology starts to get deployed. So great points. Thank you, Nusheen. Okay, Janelle, I think we just have a few minutes left. And so we said we'd start with about 40 minutes of questions. And I think this will be the last question for the panel before we dive into a demo. Janelle, this question's for you. Speaking about those metrics, what specific metrics should businesses prioritize to measure within, say, their first 30 days of implementing, for example? And then what other factors should they be considering as they implement?
Sure, Glenn. When measuring success, there are several things that I would like to look at. Case deflection rate, and like basically how many customer inquiries were successfully handled by the AI voice agent. I'd also look at FCR, which is first contact resolution, how many inquiries were solved on that first contact. Another thing to look at is how many times a live agent was requested from the voice AI agent to help kind of gauge confidence, because as that number decreases, that means that the confidence in your AI voice agent has increased. I'd also look at the total case count to see how many were handled by human agents and how many AI voice agents, and whether there was a decrease in the human handled cases. But most importantly, I'd look at customer satisfaction and NPS scores, because we all know that the customers are going to tell us exactly how they're feeling about the AI voice.
And can I just interject very quickly? That's exactly it. You know, even if you've not tracked those metrics that Janelle just walked through, it's a perfect time to start. It provides such a good benchmark to help you build that business case. So I think prioritizing the metrics that she just mentioned would really help you long before you even start implementing your agents. You'll be better able to see what's working for you and your team if you have that baseline. So I think that's super helpful.
Yeah, great point.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, great point.
And from there, I would look at the cost savings achieved by implementing the AI voice agents. You know, look at how many interactions the voice agent was able to complete, look at the overall volume, and see if the team size can be reduced, or more importantly, repurposed. Give the agents that are currently taking these calls that they don't love, let them become AI engineers, let them do the more difficult, more meaningful work. So continuous monitoring is very important, and it will ensure that we're seeing the right trends for each of our KPIs, and it'll give us more comprehensive picture of how the program is working and how it can be improved.
Well, terrific, team. We ended, I think we said 40 minutes. It was 39 minutes, if I've got that right. So really, really nicely done. because I know we have a large audience out there who are all have timelines today that they're on. So with that, now that we've discussed the potential benefits, the challenges of voice AI agents, some of the exciting opportunities, I think it's time to see it in action. So we're going to pass it over to Alan, our head of product again, and Alan is going to walk us through a live demo of Ovation CXM's AI voice agent. So Alan, over to you.
All right. Always fun demoing generative AI because you don't actually know what it's going to say. So we'll see how this goes. What we did, we set up a voice AI agent, a relatively basic one. It's trained on ovationcxm.com. It's trained on our help center. It's trained on some of the marketing collateral. So I'm going to ask it a handful of questions about the company and what we do for some examples. Maybe we'll ask it a support question from the knowledge base, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, if you could all mute, then I'll pull this up, and if you can't hear me, give me a wave if you can't hear the phone, but I'm going to do this on my phone. So let's get going.
Hello, welcome to Ovation CXM. I'm the virtual assistant. How can I assist you with learning more about our products and services today?
Hi, how are you? Can you tell me a little bit about Ovation CXM and what the company does?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Ovation CXM is a customer experience management company. We originally provided technical remote and field service support to businesses. However, we discovered that customer service in complex industries, including financial services and commerce, was difficult because it takes many disconnected different people, platforms, and companies to fulfill a single customer journey. That makes it hard to work as one team for the shared customer. So we built our own platform to connect and manage multi-party ecosystems, so companies could gain visibility, collaboration, and communication, and work together in real time to support customers. Today, we count many major US companies as our clients, from KeyBank and PayPal to partners like IBM. Using our platform, they are seeing faster time to revenue, deeper customer relationships, and lower operating costs. Would you like to hear about our CX Mention platform and its capabilities?
Yeah, that was great, but a little bit long-winded. Can you tell me what Ovation CXM does in 3 words?
Customer experience management.
Ah, great. Thank you.
I'd like to know more about what brought you to Ovation CXM today. Are you looking for a solution for your business, or would you like more information about our services?
So I work at a bank, and we are trying to improve our onboarding experience for new merchants that sign up. Is that something that you can help with?
Yes, we can definitely help with that. Our CXM platform is designed to streamline complex customer journeys, like onboarding new merchants. We've worked with several financial institutions to improve their onboarding processes, making them more efficient and customer-friendly. I'd be happy to schedule a demo to show you how our platform can help your bank achieve its goals. Would you like that?
Well, maybe could you actually give me an example of what a customer journey might look like for onboarding a new merchant?
For example, let's say a new merchant signs up for your bank's payment processing services. Our platform can help orchestrate the onboarding journey by assigning tasks to different teams, such as risk assessment, compliance, and technical setup. We can also provide real-time visibility and updates to the merchant, keeping them informed throughout the process. Additionally, our platform can help identify and resolve any issues that may arise during onboarding, ensuring a smoother experience for the merchant. This is just one example, but I can provide more tailored information if you'd like to discuss your specific needs.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd like to schedule a meeting with one of our specialists.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
More detailed examples. Go ahead and interrupt. I'm listening.
I want to switch gears. So I'm an existing customer of Ovation CXM, and I have a support question. I need to know how to embed Messenger into a website.
I'd be happy to help you with your support question. Embedding Messenger into a website is definitely something we can assist with. Can you please tell me a little bit more about your current setup and what you're trying to achieve with the Messenger integration?
Yeah, we just have a basic HTML website, and I'm trying to set up the Messenger application so we can chat with customers.
I can help you with that. To embed Messenger into your HTML website, you'll need to generate an embed code from our platform. I can walk you through the steps or provide you with a knowledge base article that outlines the process. Would you prefer a step-by-step walkthrough or the article?
Can you walk me through it, please?
To generate the embed code, you'll need to log into your Ovation CXM account. From there, go to the settings or configuration section depending on your account. Look for the Messenger or chat option and click on it. You should see a button that says Get Embed Code or Generate Embed Code. Click on that, and you'll be given a snippet of HTML code that you can copy and paste into your website's HTML. Would you like me to check if there are any specific requirements or restrictions for your account type?
No, I actually have to go, but could you transfer me to the support team? I have a few more questions I want to ask.
I'd be happy to transfer you to our support team. They'll be able to answer any further questions you may have. Please hold for just a moment while I transfer the call.
So that was an example of kind of asking the voice AI agent handful of questions, some high level ones, some examples, some technical support. And that's just trained off some basic content that we've given it to have a conversation. But if people are interested, would love to, we can set one of these up based on your data. You can see what it looks like, talking about your company, your knowledge content, your products and services. Would be happy to set one of those up for you as a demo. But for now, Glenn, I'll hand it back to you.
All right, thanks, Alan. Really impressive capability. I like how you showed sort of a range of capabilities with the interruption, and then asking the agent to give you the definition of ovation in 3 words, which in this case, she did. Impressive, right? It's really impressive. And for those in our audience out there, just encourage you to engage and see what this can do for your company. We, by the way, you can be typing questions into the Q&A. I'm gonna, in about 30 seconds, start to answer some of the questions that are coming in. That said, very powerful technology. I loved at the beginning when you asked the question, and she ultimately, before she started, she said it was nice to meet you, right? Glad to be with you. And so it brings that like real personality. Like it's hard to distinguish at times that you're not really talking to a person. And a nice person. She seems quite friendly. So anyway, excellent demo. Thank you, Alan. And with that, we have some questions coming in. So let me look at these for just a moment here, and I'm gonna send one. Alan, I'll send one to you. So I think it's highly relevant to what we just saw. So we just saw the agent answering questions about Ovation CXM. So maybe share, the question is, how long does training an AI voice agent on a company's specific knowledge base typically take? So Alan, that's for you.
Yeah, sure. So there's multiple parts to the process, but in its most basic form, let's say provisioning a new number, getting the model set up, kind of grounding it in your data. Let's assume you already have the data in a knowledge base or even in PDFs or Word docs, wherever you have the data. Within a few hours, we could stand up a usable MVP of your agent. And then from there, it's really about data curation. It's about integrating to your IVR, depending on how you want to do handoffs. Do you want it to just hand off to a single number? Do you want it to do deeper handoffs? Like in that demo I just showed, I asked for the support team, but if I ask for the sales team, you can actually hand off to different teams or people inside your organization. There'll be testing, obviously, and iteration, because the testing will uncover how you need to further curate your knowledge. From Janelle's point earlier, when we were testing on a technical support for a specific product, having the agent know what version that you're asking about up front actually helps give higher accuracy answers down later. And so those types of insights come from testing and iteration. But the short answer is you can set one of these up in a couple hours. Let's call it a day. And then the ongoing iteration, testing, feedback before you go live, probably a number of weeks before you're ready to hit that go live button.
Terrific. Thanks, Alan. Okay, another one's coming in. I think Janelle will hand this one over to you. So what are some strategies for overcoming resistance to change? Let's say a team is resisting the change a little bit. How would you encourage agent adoption of using this technology?
Absolutely. So well, first I'll say a lot of our agents use AI in their day-to-day regardless. But so adoption isn't necessarily the problem, but it's the acceptance, getting them to accept this into their new workflows, into their new way of thinking. I think over communicating and being very transparent, basically letting them be a part of the journey. So if the agents know that the AI voice agent is there just to take the calls that they don't necessarily want, and it will free them up to do more meaningful tasks, I think you're going to see that acceptance increase drastically. And especially when they get to basically train the agents. So it's kind of like they get a new employee and now they get to take ownership and be a part of that, I think that will help with the acceptance for sure.
Yeah, great points. Thanks, Chanel. Good perspective. Okay, this next question has come in. Given that it's product related, I think Alan will send it over to you. So how does Ovation CXM ensure the accuracy and reliability of AI voice agent responses?
Yeah, so we covered a little bit about this before in the risk section, but I would say first and foremost, it's data quality and data accuracy. So you want to make sure your data, your content that you're grounding your agent in is high quality, is concise to the extent it can be, and is accurate. The beauty is it doesn't need to be structured. Like the AI models of yesterday, when it's more machine learning, it needs to have very structured data to identify patterns. Large language models are able to take unstructured data and make a lot of sense out of it. So that makes it easier. But when it comes to data accuracy, avoiding hallucinations, reliability, there's a lot of parameters that we focus on tweaking and dialing in for this specific use case, the customer experience use case that spans sales and maybe marketing and support and technical support. And so we look at dialing in parameters like the temperature of these models and the top probability. We'll look at pre-grounding the models in your data, so it's answering only questions it should answer. We look at post-grounding, so it's providing accurate answers and it's not generating answers that don't make any sense, and it's using the sources that you give it. So there's a number of different tools and processes that we do to improve the accuracy, and this is going to continue to change. I mean, people discover new techniques when it comes to prompting, when it comes to structuring the data every day. It feels like new techniques are coming out, so it'll only improve from here.
Yeah, great points. Thank you, Alan. And it looks like this one is similar in terms of product focus. So, Alan, how do Ovation CXM's AI voice agents differ from other AI-powered customer support solutions? And feel free, Nushin, if you want to weigh in on this one as well after Alan answers, please do.
Yeah, I'll take a couple notes, then Nushin, if you have other stuff to add. So generally, I mean, a lot of the AI agents we've seen come out so far have been chat-based. A lot of them start chat-based. I think voice really, there's always been IVRs, but voice LLM-powered real-time conversational AI agents like what we just saw is relatively new. And that's really because it's a combination of the quality, the advancements in technology for how natural that voice sounds, as well as the latency of the models. If you ask a question and then there's a 7-second pause before it gets back to you, it's going to feel awkward and you're not going to interact with an agent. But when it's a natural human 1 to 3 second pause based on what you're asking, it starts to feel like you're having a conversation. So only recently, I think everyone has a chat-based bot. I think we're just starting to see some of these voice AI agents come out. And it's going to be interesting when you have these platforms that are omni-channel. You don't want to build a whole separate agent for every channel. You want to be able to curate your knowledge once. You want to be able to have unified models. You want to be able to then deploy those agents out to all the different channels. So I think that's something we might do differently than others in the market is you can build it once. It can be on voice. It can be on SMS. It can be on chat. And you can have those AI agents power multiple use cases inside your application. I would also say we see a lot of point solutions. A lot of the new AI first companies coming out is, oh, we're a chatbot. Well, that's great, but does it create your case and tie into analytics and route to teams and tie into hours of operations, integrate to your CRM? And it's all the things around this conversation. A conversation is a small but very important piece of the overall experience. But when you take something like an onboarding journey, that could be a 30, 60, 90-day customer experience. And there might be 25 conversations that relate to that whole onboarding experience. And how do you weave all that together? How does AI play a part in the overall experience? And it's not the only part of the experience. So I think that's something that we think about as we look at the experience a bit more holistically than just here's an AI agent, go do with it what you want to do, integrate what you want. We try to deliver that experience holistically.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'll just add specifically to Ovation CXM and why our voice agents are different from others on the market is precisely that, we're connected and we integrate like with our platform, which is phenomenal and really quite pioneering when it comes to customer journey orchestration and ecosystem connectivity. So we integrate our agents, our voice agents and chat-based agents integrate with existing customer journey data for a very comprehensive understanding of customer needs. So it's not that point solution in itself, as Alan just alluded to. It's so much broader. Our agents also offer real-time information retrieval for more accurate responses. And we have such a huge and rich history in customer support and technical support. And so as a result, we have large libraries of very specialized knowledge that we can reference and that we can train voice agents on right off the bat. So it's automatically a very superior product. So I just add that for why us over others specifically.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I just even add to that with our history steeped in services and technical support services. We take the approach, some of the vendors out there are just kind of like, hey, here's a model, good luck, go do with it what you want to do. We take a much more white glove approach. We hold your hand, we help you integrate the model, we help you set it up, we help you get your data in place, we help you train it. And this kind of approach to customer success, we want to make sure you are successful with things like these voice AI models. And we're not just going to throw it over the fence and say, hey, good luck, have at it, let me know how it goes. So there's a lot of that aspect to it as well, the human aspect as it comes to launching and overseeing these AI models.
Yeah, great perspective. Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Nusheen, for those thoughts, and thank you, Janelle, for your thoughts on the questions as well. So look, we just have about 4 minutes left, and we're going to wrap up. And I want to say that it's been wonderful to spend this time with each of you. You've shared a wealth of information. The conversation has been really informative. So thank you, Nusheen and Alan and Janelle, for your time and your perspective. And I hope for our audience that you found it as enlightening and as interesting as I did today. So thank you all to those who've attended as well. Look, there was a lot of great content here. This was a rich session. You each gave a lot of very detailed, specific answers. And I think if you're considering implementing AI, it's a webinar that's really worth kind of diving into. So to that end, we're going to be sending out a recording of this webinar. We'll send it out to the email addresses that all of our participants have logged in with. And then we'll also be posting this out on our website. We'll have it available in other formats as well. We'll probably post a link to the recording out in LinkedIn for those that use LinkedIn, etc. If you're interested in seeing how Ovation CXM Voice Agent can work for you, in addition to what Nusheen just shared, is that we have a much broader platform than that. You can go to ovationcxm.com, our website, and get a sense for who we are and all of our capabilities. This is just sort of a very small component of a much broader platform that we provide around customer experience and customer journeys. But if you're interested, you can reach out to us directly via our website. The link should be up on the screen for all of you to see. If it's not, you can connect with us. We'll follow up with you and you'll have that link. Our team will be happy to talk to you about your needs and schedule a demo with an agent that's trained on your public information so you can actually see it in action. So when we do demos, we'll actually train it on your website, and then you can start asking it questions just like a customer of yours would. And I think it's really impressive. I think that this technology is here to stay. It's transformative. I believe it's technology that every business should and will use. And I think the sooner you get started with it, the better. Keep in mind, this technology, voice AI, is really centered in customer experience. It's about using a tool to drive up your customer satisfaction, your customer engagement, to make your company operate more efficiently, to reduce your costs, and to stay leading edge so that you remain competitive as others begin to implement this really important technology. Super important to, I think, engage and get in early. So we invite and welcome you to leverage us to the degree that we can be helpful. And with that, we're right at the end, and I want to thank everyone again for your participation today. Thank our panelists. Thank those involved behind the scenes who put this webinar together. Thank you all to our participants for joining, and we hope we can be helpful to you and look forward to talking down the road. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
And all.
Thanks.
Thanks all.